talk about the... Hi, and welcome to my YouTube channel. I am Nia Joy, your golden real estate agent in the Charleston, South Carolina area. This video is going to be going over my e-guide. It's actually summarizing my e-guide that you can download on my website, soldbynia.com, soldbynia.com. This is going to be part one in a series of 4 videos just to help the general millennial understand some things about home ownership, talking about myths about buying, talking about some reasons why people of this age group do not buy, maybe talk about the benefits of the home ownership experience and why it is a good idea actually to own a home. And then lastly, maybe some steps that you can take in order to be a homeowner, whether it be now or in the future. So the reason why I decided to do this short video series is because I myself am a audio visual learner, and I always listen to audiobooks. I think I've listened to maybe like 10 so far in 2019, and I really enjoy it. And I thought, you know what, let me just go ahead and bring this to my audience because I really appreciate you guys for following and taking notes. I'm hearing some really great things. The whole purpose of this was just to pretty much let you guys know, shorthand, that home ownership is a beautiful thing if it's the right time for you. So who are millennials? So you heard of baby boomers, right? Well, I'm not gonna go on the specifics of baby boomers to millennials, but if you know anything about baby boomers or hearing a lot about them, you also can kind of parallel baby boomers with millennials. But what they're finding is, let me read this statistic here. Millennials actually make up 83.1 million, and they actually represent more than a quarter of the nation's population. That's more than a quarter, like a fourth of the nation's population are millennials. That's a lot of people. So we exceed the baby boomers by over 75.4 million. Can you imagine that? That we're that much larger in numbers to them, in comparison to them. You may have remembered the baby boomers came back, their parents came back after war, and they had a lot of babies. And I'm not saying that's what happened with our parents, but something happened anyway. Long story, we are here and we're not going anywhere, and millennials are here now to buy. So millennials actually make up the largest number of first-time home owners right currently. We're at about maybe anywhere from 50 plus to 65% over the past few years. You'll see our average age is 32. So we are really out there buying. So leading into this, you have to understand that some of your friends are out here buying. And if your friends aren't out here buying homes, they will be. According to our statistics, our information posted in our e-guide, it seems that 18 to 34-year-olds, those are the age group that are really buying right now, that are in that, make up that 50 to 60%. What's going on with millennials? They are actually in a place called a responsibility zone. Like, they're in this responsibility zone, and you guys see it. You may be going through it. There's about 4 things that are kind of happening. They're moving out, they're getting married, they're buying houses, and they're having children. Those are like the 4 things that are really, they lump up a lot of the responsibility zone for millennials currently. So you may see that happening, and it doesn't necessarily have to happen in that order, but you'll see that happening, and that is a driving force in millennials actually purchasing homes, or even maybe something they would factor when they're going into rent. Particularly, there's actually 6 reasons here that are listed what's holding millennials back from actually buying a home. So those 6, you'll see here, you're gonna go from top to bottom here on this. The 6 top reasons why young renters delay buying is actually insufficient credit history or score. They can't afford the down payment, or they can't afford to pay for the closing costs. They have insufficient income, so they can't afford to pay the monthly payments that they normally would pay for a mortgage. they may be having, they may have too much existing debt. And a lot of us have those student loans. We're going to talk about that later. And then they have the lack of job security. That's 5 down on the list. And then finally, 7% think that it's too complicated. So you have 53%, 50, 30. You have pretty much the top 2 reasons is pretty much credit, and they can't afford to make the payments. But of course, the driving force for not being able to afford the payments is going to have something to do with lack of job security. If you can't have a stable job, that's going to play in when you go to get a loan. So you want to be mindful of that. Those of you who do not have your credit in line, you want to go ahead and start working on that, knowing your score, understanding your credit report, understanding on some things that may be replaced with more positive, most positive notes or more positive feedback. So if you have anything negative on there, you want to turn it to a positive or at least out of delinquency. That's a big thing. So you're going to have credit repair, people that can help you with that. Some of my lenders actually work with some really great repair specialists as well. And they actually work with me to help the millennial or buyer create a plan of action. And I'm really big on making a plan of action. So that's pretty much why I consider myself your golden realtor, because I look at home ownership as more than just an end game. It's a building point. And so we want to focus on, yes, some of the people actually don't even have budget. So definitely, if you don't have a budget, you might want to work on that first. That should be first and foremost. If your priority is maybe traveling or doing other things, maybe home ownership isn't for you. It's just a lot of things to factor in. But job security, back to that, how that plays in is you have to show a couple years of steady employment in a particular field. And lenders can go more in detail about that with you. But that actually shows stability, that you can maintain a full-time job in your field and actually can afford to make your payments, because the bank really doesn't want to have to own your own home. They'd rather not. So again, those were 6 reasons why millennials do not own, and they choose to continue to rent, and that's fine too. Stay tuned for the part 2. We're going to be going over those myths as to why millennials do not own, and it's 3 top myths, and I want to go in more detail about these 3 top myths. I haven't mentioned them specifically here yet, but I definitely want to go into those there. So definitely watch us, and we look forward to seeing you next time in part 2.